I moved into the apartment because it was cheap. That should have been my first warning. The building sat at the edge of town, squeezed between an abandoned laundromat and a fenced-off parking garage that looked like it hadn't been used since the early 2000s. The landlord called it vintage. Honestly, it looked like depression with plumbing. Still, I was broke. The rent was almost suspiciously low for a one-bedroom apartment, especially in the city. I asked the landlord why. He laughed. "Thin walls," he said. That ended up being the understatement of the century. The first week was normal enough. The elevator barely worked. The hallway lights flickered constantly, and every apartment door looked identical, except for small scratches near the handles, like people had tried to force their way in at some point. But the weirdest part was my neighbor across the hall, apartment 314. I never saw his face clearly. Every time we crossed paths, he'd either have a hoodie up or keep his head down. Tall guy, skinny, always wearing black gloves, even indoors. At first, I thought maybe he was just antisocial. Then the noises started. Every night around 2 a.m., I'd hear heavy dragging sounds from his apartment. Not footsteps, dragging, like furniture being pulled across the floor. Then came the metallic banging, then silence. Complete silence. One night it got so loud I finally opened my door to check. The hallway smelled awful. Not garbage, not sewage, something sweet and rotten at the same time. Apartment 314's door was cracked open slightly. I remember just standing there staring at it. The dragging stopped immediately, like whoever was inside heard me. Then slowly, the door creaked shut on its own. I went back inside and locked my door. The next morning, I asked the old woman downstairs if she knew anything about the guy in 314. Her expression changed instantly. She looked genuinely nervous. "You should mind your business," she whispered. Then she shut her door in my face. That should have been enough for me, but humans are stupid when curiosity gets involved. A few nights later, I woke up around 2:13 a.m. to what sounded like muffled crying. At first I thought it was outside. Then I realized it was coming through the wall beside my bed from 314. I pressed my ear against the wall. I could hear someone whispering, not one voice, multiple. I couldn't make out the words clearly, but I heard one sentence perfectly. "Please let me go." I froze. My first thought was human trafficking. Second thought was maybe I was overreacting. Third thought was that I should call the police. But before I could grab my phone, bang! Something slammed against the wall so hard my picture frame fell. Then everything went silent again. No crying, no whispers, nothing. The next day I called the police anonymously. 2 officers showed up that evening. I watched through my peephole while they knocked on 314. No answer. They knocked again. Still nothing. Then one of the officers tried the doorknob. Unlocked. The door slowly opened. The smell hit the hallway immediately. Even the cops reacted to it. One officer covered his nose while the other stepped inside. About 30 seconds later, they came back out, and they were laughing. One officer knocked on my door afterward. When I opened it, he smiled. "Everything's fine," he said. I asked about the smell. He shrugged. "Guy's just a hoarder." Then they left. That didn't sit right with me at all, because while they were inside, I heard something. A thud, like someone kicking a wall. And I swear I heard muffled screaming. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 1:50 a.m., I heard footsteps outside my apartment. Slow, deliberate. They stopped directly at my door. No knocking, just breathing. I could hear someone breathing outside. I looked through the peephole. It was my neighbor from 314, standing completely still, head tilted downward, one gloved hand resting against my door. I backed away immediately. Then came 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. I stayed silent. After about a minute, the footsteps walked away. The next morning, there was a note taped to my door. It said, "I know you called them." No signature, no punctuation, just that sentence. I packed a bag immediately. I didn't care if I sounded paranoid anymore. I was leaving. But before I could go, curiosity screwed me one last time. I wanted proof, something concrete. So that afternoon, while I heard water running from inside 314, I walked over quietly and checked the doorknob. Unlocked again. I don't know why I went inside. I genuinely don't. The apartment was dark, except for a bathroom light at the end of the hallway. The smell was unbearable up close, rotting meat mixed with bleach. The living room was almost empty. No TV, no couch, just stains on the carpet, and deep scratches on the floor, like heavy objects had been dragged repeatedly. Then I noticed the locks. The apartment door had 6 separate deadbolts installed from the outside. Meaning someone was being locked in. That's when I heard the whisper, "Help me." I nearly jumped out of my skin. The voice came from behind a door near the kitchen, a metal door. I walked toward it slowly. There were scratch marks all over it, fresh ones. My hands were shaking as I reached for the handle. Locked. Then the whisper came again. "Please." I started searching for something to break the lock. That's when the bathroom water stopped running. My blood went cold. I heard movement down the hallway, slow footsteps, coming toward me. I panicked and ran for the apartment door. But before I reached it, I slipped. Something wet on the floor. I looked down. Blood. Fresh blood. Then I heard him speak for the first time. "You shouldn't have come in here." His voice was calm, almost gentle. I turned around slowly. He was standing at the end of the hallway holding a hammer, still wearing those black gloves. I remember noticing weird details in that moment, like how clean the gloves looked, how emotionless his face was, how one side of his hoodie was stained dark red. He took one step toward me, then another. I ran.